Well, here in Germany, a group of lawmakers wants to ban the far-right political party, the Alternative for Germany, also known as the AfD. A section of the party is already considered right-wing extremists by the country's domestic intelligence agency. The AfD enjoyed a record surge in recent elections in 3 eastern states, just a year before national elections are due to take place. Now, those results could be replicated elsewhere in Germany. Critics say the anti-immigrant party poses a danger to democracy. As our correspondent Matthew Moore reports, many young voters support the AfD.
Brandenburg, Thuringia, Saxony. 3 state elections, 3 record-high results for the far-right Alternative for Germany, including a first-place finish. The party hasn't won power, but AfD leaders believe that their performance among young voters means they're on the path.
We are the party of the future. The SPD and the CDU are the parties of the past. Their star is falling. The future is blue in Eastern Germany and everywhere.
This is one reason for the optimism. If it was down to young people, the AfD would have won all 3 elections comfortably. Yet talk of a blue future is overstated, says Timo Lochocki, who has studied the rise and fall of far-right movements in Europe.
It's a tricky one because there is a clear-cut, say, die-hard electorate that is like stuck with far-right, but everything between these 10 and 30% that currently flock to the far-right is still in reach for the centrist parties when they are clearly distinguishable. And, very important, second topic, if they do not talk about migration all the time, because this is what the far-right needs.
But it's talk like that surfaced during election season here in the Spreewald outside Berlin, an area known for its inland delta and its fairy tale charm. The AfD leader here won the seat on fiercely anti-immigrant campaign promises. Hans-Christoph Berndt is considered a far-right extremist by local security services. The mood here polarized.
This is just a fatal outcome for democracy.
I opened a bottle of champagne because a first-place AfD finish was prevented. That would have been the worst thing for me, or for us.
Rubbish.
Why?
Because it could have been better.
What does that mean for you?
We could have had the AfD.
It's a tense time. You can tell that everyone is dissatisfied. Many people are looking for something different, I would say.
Beyond migration, the recent elections were driven by concerns over the war in Ukraine and dismal approval ratings for the governing parties in Berlin. Chancellor Olaf Scholz is now clamouring to dial down the sense of division.
The vast majority of us are closer together on all the big issues than it sometimes seems. Much more unites us than divides us. I want it to stay that way.
A look at the poll numbers of the centre-right CDU, centre-left SPD, along with that of the AfD, suggests the far-right is building momentum ahead of elections next year. In a recent interview with DW, the AfD's co-leader Alice Weidel set her sights on 2029.
I'm not ruling out the possibility of the AfD joining government from 2029 on.
Until now, other political parties have said they would not cooperate with the AfD, the so-called Brandmauer or firewall, to stop the far-right from governing. Lochocki says to keep the far-right in check, other parties must deal with migration and articulate what they stand for.
Then the AfD would go down to 12. If they're down, then the AfD is going to continuously poll at 25. Then if it's most likely at one point, one centrist party would say, hey, I have had enough of the shenanigans of whomever I'm working with. Let's try the others.
For many, trying the others is unthinkable. This graffiti says the AfD is inhumane. And yet, a sizable minority here believe the AfD has the answers. The question now is, can the mainstream prove them wrong?
And our political correspondent, Simon Young, he has more. Simon, tell us more about these lawmakers and their efforts to ban the AfD, because we know banning a party in Germany is not easy.
That's right, Brent. A political party can be banned in Germany by the Constitutional Court under certain limited conditions. That is, if it is actively and aggressively seeking to undermine and overthrow Germany's constitution and its democratic order, and indeed if it has a realistic chance of achieving that objective. Now, this is a cross-party group of members of the Bundestag who say they're considering applying to the court to have it begin proceedings to ban the AfD, a sign perhaps of the sort of growing sense of alarm that this far-right party is advancing, having electoral success. And they say particularly that they're concerned, for instance, about attacks by the AfD on human dignity of whole groups such as migrants, Muslims and minorities. So that's what they're saying. On the other side, a lot of people are saying, well, we need to watch out. This is a process that will take a long time to go through the legal process. If it does produce a ban, well, that will create arguments of its own. If it doesn't, of course, the AfD may well say, well, you know, this means that we should be treated like a normal political party like any other. So a lot of people are saying, well, it's a bad idea to pursue a ban. The AfD should be countered with political arguments and not legal ones.
And what about the AfD's co-leader, Alice Weidel? She has some very lofty aspirations, doesn't she?
Well, she's been announced in the last few days as the AfD's candidate to become Chancellor. This would be the first time, actually, that the Alternative for Germany has named a single candidate, potentially to become Chancellor of Germany after next year's election. You know, she's been an important figurehead at the top of the AfD for some time. She's, as you said, a co-leader in Parliament. Well, she's a well-known figure nationally, I should say. She does have her detractors within the party, some who say she spends too much time in Switzerland, where she lives with her female partner. Others say that she's not a very energetic campaigner. All of that's relevant because if she is to become the Chancellor candidate of the AfD, as it's called, well, that'll have to be ratified by party meetings and conventions over the next few months. But it's fair to say that it doesn't really make any difference anyway. She's got no realistic chance of becoming Chancellor because all the other mainstream parties have said they won't work with the AfD and therefore they won't be in government.
DW Simon Young with the latest here in Berlin. Simon, thank you.